The scent of grilled meat floated through the dusty evening air of Makoko like a prayer to the hungry. It wrapped around corners, seeped through narrow alleys, and pulled people toward a rusted iron grill where a man worked in silence. He was called Baba Kudatal, wiry, with a face that rarely smiled. To the locals, he was a quiet man who had returned from the north after years of absence. No one asked why. He opened a small Suya stand beside the canal, and business boomed overnight. His meat? Unbelievably tender. Seasoning? Addictive. He wrapped every portion in old newspaper, adding onions and a faint, mysterious sauce that left customers licking their fingers and craving more. But no one knew about the 2 small graves behind his shack. No one dared wonder why he always whistled the same haunting lullaby at midnight. And no one asked about the 2 little boys who used to play near the water's edge and suddenly vanished. 3 weeks earlier, before the stand appeared, the twins Kahinde and Taiwo had disappeared from their mother's doorstep. The town buzzed with worry. Posters went up. Prayers were whispered. But their father, Baba Kudi, seemed strange, quiet, too calm. He told neighbors the boys were with their aunt up north. He lied. In truth, something in Baba Kudi had snapped. Years of poverty, a cheating wife, the voices that began whispering in his head at night. They told him there was power in sacrifice. That blood could buy success. That meat was meat if it was well seasoned. No one would know. No one would care. And so one moonless night, with trembling hands and a machete wrapped in cloth, he followed the whispers. The twins never screamed. He said a prayer. Then he cooked. Now, the stand was a sensation. Baba Kudi, give me 2 wraps. That your Suya sweet pass woman. Make I carry 5 go house. I day come tomorrow again. He smiled quietly behind the smoke, never saying much. The whispers in his mind purred like cats. But not everyone was fooled. One night, a boy named Musa watched from across the street. He'd seen something burying, something behind Baba Kudi's shack, something wrapped in cloth, something small. Musa had also seen the boys playing weeks ago, and then, never again. Musa's curiosity turned to fear. He decided to tell someone. But by the next morning, Musa was gone. Rain fell hard the morning Musa disappeared. Thick, gray clouds loomed over Makoko like silent judges. Puddles formed in the muddy paths between shacks, but Baba Kudi's grill still burned, hissing and smoking as fat dripped onto hot coals. People came as usual. The line was long, but something was off. Musa, no, come out today, someone muttered, chewing a piece of Suya. That pikin too stubborn. Maybe ego chop beating for house, another replied. Nobody knew Musa had crept out at dawn, heart pounding in his chest, to meet with the local Imaman old man named Malam Idris. Musa had told him everything. The burial cloth, the missing twins, and Baba Kudi's strange whistling. Malam Idris believed him. And that was why the old man came that evening, slowly approaching Baba Kudi's stand with 2 others from the mosque behind him. Peace be upon you, Malam Idris greeted, voice firm. Baba Kudi didn't look up. He brushed some ash off the grill. And upon you, he replied. We want to pray for your boys, Kahinde and Taiwo. I hear they went north. Baba Kudi's eyes twitched. Yes, with their aunt. Which aunt? Malam Idris asked. His tone shifted. Their mother says there is no such aunt. Silence. Behind them, the grill sizzled louder as if something beneath the fire was listening. Then, as if carried by the wind, a whisper came. Faint, eerie, a child's voice. Daddy, why did you do it? The men turned sharply. Baba Kudi froze. His eyes widened. The whisper came again clearer now. "Daddy, we're still hungry." Suddenly, the fire on the grill flared. Sparks burst like fireworks. Something moved beneath the coals. The smell and savory turned bitter, like burning hair. The two men with Malam Idris stepped back in fear. "What is this?" one whispered. Baba Kuti dropped his Suya knife. It clanged against the ground. "They said they'd leave me alone," he murmured, eyes glazed. "They promised if I fed them, they'd stop whispering." Malam Idris reached for a small bottle of holy water. He began to pray, but it was too late. From behind the stand, where the graves lay hidden, came the soft patter of footsteps. Small, bare, twin shadows emerged through the smoke silent, watching. Their eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Customers screamed and scattered. The meat stand caught fire. Baba Kuti stood motionless as his twin sons walked toward him, ghosts made of smoke and ash. And they were still hungry. The flames licked higher, turning Baba Kuti's Suya stand into a torch that lit up the entire alley. People ran in every direction, screaming, stumbling, dropping Suya wraps that hissed in the puddles. But Baba Kuti didn't move. He stood, paralyzed, as the ghostly forms of Kehinde and Taiwo stepped through the smoke. They were barefoot, their eyes empty, glowing like coals buried deep in firewood never left their father's face. Malam Idris clutched his prayer beads, whispering verses louder now. The two men beside him had already fled. The twins stopped in front of Baba Kuti. Then Kehinde spoke. His voice was not of this world. It echoed as if it came from a deep cave filled with sorrow. "We trusted you, Daddy." Taiwo stepped forward, holding something. A charred Suya skewer. "You fed us to strangers," he said, voice cracking. "Now you will feed us, your soul." Suddenly, the flames turned blue. Baba Kuti screamed not from the fire, but from the pressure of their presence. He clutched his head. The whispers that had once guided him now roared like a storm. "Do it again. Bring more. Taste what you served." His knees buckled. Malam Idris ran forward and threw the holy water. It sizzled through the air and splashed onto Baba Kuti's face. Smoke exploded from his skin. He wailed a sound that didn't sound human at all. Then, he vanished into the fire. One moment he was there, the next, nothing remained but his blood-stained apron and a Suya knife glowing red-hot. The twins? Gone. The flames? Out in an instant. Only silence remained. The Suya stand never reopened. The ground where it once stood was blackened, and no grass ever grew there again. People avoided the alley. Even birds refused to fly over it. Weeks later, Malam Idris received a letter unsigned. Inside was a single photograph. Two smiling boys, standing in front of Baba Kuti. The caption on the back read, "We are still here." The photo never left Malam Idris's desk. He stared at it every night before sleep, hoping for a sign, some hint of peace for the boys' spirits. But peace never came. Only silence and shadows that moved just a little too quickly across his walls. Elsewhere, across Makoko, whispers began again. It started with dreams. A pregnant woman in the market saw the twins in her sleep. They were standing over her stove, staring at her unborn belly. A drunk fisherman swore he heard children crying beneath the water near the canal. "We are still hungry," they said, in voices that chilled his blood more than any night wind ever could. But the worst came when Suya began to appear again. At first, it was just a few small parcels left on people's doorsteps, wrapped in brown paper, still warm, no note, no vendor, just the smell, familiar, haunting, addictive. Some people, out of curiosity or madness, tasted it, and they swore it was just like Baba Kuti's Suya. Then the dreams got worse. People who ate the Suya began waking up with dirt under their fingernails. Some had bite marks on their arms, child-sized. A few went missing, entirely vanishing, like smoke. The alley where the Suya stand had once stood, it reopened itself. No builder, no carpenter. One day it was just there, a new Suya stall, clean, untouched by fire, a sign painted in dripping red. Cootie and Sons, taste that haunts. No one saw who ran it, but every evening, smoke began to rise again. The smell returned. And standing in the shadows, some claimed they saw them two little boys, barefoot, waiting, watching, still hungry. Night fell thick and heavy on Makoko. The stars above the lagoon blinked like frightened eyes. The air hung with the now familiar, scent-spiced, smoky, seductive. It coiled around the neighborhood like a serpent in heat, wrapping its scent around every home, every throat, every dream. At the edge of the cursed alley, under the crooked sign of Cootie and Sons, the grill glowed. There was no visible vendor, no hands turning the skewers, but the meat cooked. The coals sizzled, and the whispers returned. "We see you. We fed you. Now feed us. Meat for meat, soul for soul."